Hi, today's topic is a new decade. Welcome to Back on Track. I'm Sandra Griff. As an energy movement facilitator, I help you clear your clutter, mind, body, soul, and home. Feel free to comment or ask questions if this topic resonates with you. Let me know. I'd love to address your concerns. Your questions and comments could show up in a future show. Tonight at midnight, our clocks turn to 2020. It's not just a new year, but a new decade, another milestone. We have made an art of celebrating the passage of time. We celebrate birthdays, anniversaries, the new year. When the milestone is big, usually ending in a 0 or 5, we mark that with a larger celebration, year 10, 20, 25, or 50. We also celebrate other things like holidays, Easter, Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving. I'd love to hear some of the things you consistently celebrate. You can post them in the comments. Sometimes we spend days, weeks, even months planning these events. Last week, I talked about traditions and how each of us has specific things we do for specific occasions. I also mentioned we spend far too much time looking back. At this time of year, though, I think looking back is a good thing. Looking back can help you see how far you've come and how far you'd like to go. I'm not really big on New Year's resolutions, as most people don't keep them. They have good intentions, but don't usually make a plan to follow through, hence not succeeding. Tomorrow when we wake up, we will start a new year in a new decade. Other than marking the passage of time, this information is actually irrelevant, unless you use the passage of time to mark your progress, not just your age. It's really easy to say, I'm 35. You can insert your age here. And I thought I'd be further along. Your emotions have reared their ugly head, and you are probably feeling sad, bitter, disheartened, and maybe like you're not enough. Maybe you thought you would be married by now, or have children. Maybe you thought you'd own your own home, or own your own company. Maybe you thought you should be a CEO by now, or the head of human resources, or a professor. Maybe you thought you should be out of debt. Post your I wish I was in the comments. I'd love to share your I wish I was with other viewers so they too know they are not alone. I have so many I wish I was. I couldn't possibly share them all. Some have lingered for years, like I wish my body was smaller. Others are relatively new developments, like wanting to be a public speaker. This last decade has been a decade of change for me. Some of the changes were quick and others took a long time to get used to. My divorce was unexpected and quick. It took a while to carve out my new life, but I was motivated. I made a plan and I carried it out. Once I had the basics, though, I stopped working towards a new life and settled for comfort. I settled in and progress stopped. It took about 4 years before I made another push at the life I wanted. I found a new love and life was once again changing. We were just getting started with the plan when the universe had another plan and ended his journey. The end of his life stopped mine for a while, and it took a few years to realize I needed to keep moving forward, that he would have wanted me to keep moving forward. So again, I made another push with a half-hearted plan. In retrospect, it was really just an idea that I fumbled and failed to execute over and over again. I had failed to commit. But it takes more than commitment, willpower, or determination. Those things will definitely be needed, but they are not the only things you will need. You will also need a plan. We don't spend nearly enough time planning our life. Most of us just fumble through, playing the cards we are dealt. But if you want a different life, you have to change what you are doing. You have to choose a different path, to make a plan. An actual step-by-step guide to what you want. Once you've figured out what it is you want. Do you know what you want? It took me a long time, years. It took me years to figure out what I wanted. Once you know what you want, do you know how to achieve it? I'd love to hear if you know how to achieve what you want. You can post yes or no in the comment section. Let's say you know what you want and you know how to achieve it. Have you made a plan? Do you have a step-by-step action plan to achieve the goals you want? And do you have a way to mark your achievement? Time goals. I ask these questions not because I'm a planner and want to help with that. I ask because it took me a long time to even figure out what I wanted. I spent years trying to figure out things only to discover those things were really not what I wanted. This last decade and this last year in particular have really helped me solidify what I actually want. This past decade has been filled with endings for me. The end of a 27-year marriage, the end of my daughter being reasonably close in distance, the end of a love affair, the end of a job, and the end of some relationships. It's also been filled with loss. The loss of a life I thought I had. The loss of a love. And for the second time in a decade, the loss of a life I wanted to live. And just this past year, I have lost my stepfather, my mother-in-law, the first friend I made when I moved to Edmonton, and several other people. It may sound like nothing good has happened, and that is not the case. I give equal weight to the great things that came about in this last decade too. I've made some new friends. I've joined wonderful organizations that have given me a hand up. I ended a marriage and have become a happier, better person. I met a new love and was able to feel what unconditional love felt like. This past decade was the first time in my life I had ever felt safe, loved, and accepted. I've challenged myself to do things I was afraid of, and I've learned to overcome my fears and move forward. This past year, I've discovered my voice and that I have a story that needs to be told. I've always wanted to help people, but have never really known how to do that. And I have the most clarity I've ever had in my life because of the past decade. I know what I want now, and I have a plan to get it. I can say with complete honesty, this past decade has been the worst and the happiest time of my life, despite all the struggles and trials. I've never been more calm, more centered, or more clear in my life. I know what I want now. I want to be of service while being able to travel and work anywhere. It's not about making tons of money or becoming famous. It's not about making a name for myself. It's about the life I want to live. I want a lifestyle. My daughter and son-in-law live in New York, and I want to be able to see them 3 or 4 times a year, especially when the babies start to come. The one thing I can say with certainty about this last decade is the things I have learned, the tools I have mastered, and the modalities I have studied have brought me to this place in life. I have healed enough of me to help others, and each situation I have weathered has given me knowledge and skills that can be useful to assist others in their journey. I am so grateful for this past decade of trials, endings, loss, and healing. Without it, I'd still be stuck. I would still be paralyzed with fear. I would still be floundering in the ditch, unable to pull myself out. One of the biggest things I'm thankful for is the help of others. When I finally realized I couldn't do life alone, I found the most amazing people to be on this journey with. I am so grateful I opened my mind and ventured into the world of energy. Once I learned enough to stop being afraid, I was able to expand and grow. It is not the absence of fear we should seek, but the willingness to push past the fear to reach our full potential. Since life is ever changing, we never really know what's going to happen. One thing I do know is this next decade will definitely be different from the last one, because I have a purpose, a goal, and a plan to make it happen. Post your plans for the next decade in the comments. If you don't have a plan yet, that's okay. You can simply post, "I want a plan." The emotional freedom technique is one of the tools I've learned that was instrumental in helping me to move ahead in life. So the next few weeks will be devoted to talking and tapping on the 3 things that deter us from following through: fear, anxiety, and procrastination. I can't wait for tomorrow, the new year, the new decade. 2020, here we come. If you'd like more information, you can contact me through www.everchanginglife.ca. Please post your comments and questions. Your feedback could shape future topics. Happy New Year, everyone.